You know, ever since I saw this movie, I've been thinking, if toys are attracted to music, does that mean it can happen in real life? Well, I'm gonna have to find out. I haven't played this instrument in years.
Dale, that's me.
What? What? Who turned off the lights?
Look after you.
In continuing the spirit of Winter Cyber Wonderland, we're going to look at a timeless classic that had a sequel that is clearly trying to be a classic. I'm 100% sure everybody has seen Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's one of the most popular Christmas specials of all time. They remember the characters, the story, and the songs, but surprisingly, not a lot of people talk about its sequel. Now, this is not the first Rudolph sequel ever made. There were already some standalone sequels to it, like Rudolph's Shiny New Year and Frosty and Rudolph's Christmas in July. Second, this particular sequel is not made by Rankin Bass, but Good Times Entertainment, a company that made some failed attempts to make some fairy tale movies that Disney have already made. In fact, they already made a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer movie, and this sequel is not a sequel to the movie, but the 1964 Christmas special that everybody loves. So that clearly contradicts the idea of making a Rudolph sequel. Welcome to another episode of the Wonder Reviews. Let's join in on this reindeer game. This is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys. The movie presumably takes place almost a year after the events from the special. There's a mischievous villain called the Toy Taker that is stealing toys from boys and girls all around the world. It's up to Rudolph and his friends to capture this thief. But that's not the only focus of the movie. Rudolph is sick of being a celebrity, and all he wants is to be a normal reindeer and have a regular nose. Oh, we're pulling this stupid side plot. In fact, that feels out of character of our favorite reindeer. He says he wants a normal nose because he's a misfit, even though in the original, he's okay of being himself.
But you're a celebrity.
So what? I'd give anything for a normal nose.
Poor guy.
The novelty gig I probably understand, but why does he act like he doesn't fit in? In short, that side plot is both predictable and pointless. But that's not the only continuity error, there are a few others. There's a plot hole where Rudolph and Clarice didn't know they're in love with each other until a year later. Yeah, I guess kissing under the mistletoe doesn't count, I guess. There's even a flashback featuring elves that are in an academy that want to be dentists. So apparently Hermie's not the only one that wants to be a dentist? This makes no sense. Oh, I almost forgot. Rudolph and Clarice are back to being kids again as opposed to being full-grown reindeer. And for a movie called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys, the island's not really the major focus at all. It's just capturing a villain. So judging by my criticism, does that mean this didn't serve justice to the stop-motion special? Well, actually, no. For a movie not made by Rankin Bass, I will give it credit that it does stay true to its original source material. Don't get me wrong, the Toy Taker story isn't big as the Foggy Christmas or the Snow Monster story, but it does capture some of the charm, iconic elements, and there are a few new elements that are created at the original special. For example, there's an island that actually fixes toys if they're broken, and to be fair, that's a good tie-in. Despite some of the inconsistencies, it's still harmless when it manages to stay true to the original. As much as I say the plot is sort of faithful to the first movie or special, not a lot of development has been put into some of our favorite characters. Well, they do, but a few of them don't serve a point to the plot. With Rudolph, he's a holiday icon, but he still feels like he's an outcast and he wants a normal nose. But as his journey continues, he's happy with who he is, just like in his original special. Okay, I'm done talking about that. Hermie is the dentist elf that wants to have a date with a tooth fairy. Yukon and Bumble are the extra helpers. Clarice is Rudolph's girlfriend who wants to earn her wings so she can fly. And everyone else like Santa, the head elf, Mrs. Claus, and some of the old Misfit toys are there to remind you they were in the original.
I used to live on the Island of Misfit Toys until Santa found me a home of my own.
Some of the new characters are either interesting or a mixed bag. Some of the new Misfit toys are pretty unique because of their Misfit traits and personalities, like the kite that's afraid of heights, a boomerang that never comes back, and a few others. I don't really care much about Queen Camilla because she doesn't appear a lot. There's also this snowman reporter named Scoop, who is the most forgettable. I guess they couldn't bring back Sam because Bert Ives isn't around, but still they could just bring back Sam if they just bring in, I don't know, a Burl Ives impersonator. The only character that is interesting throughout the entire movie is, surprisingly, the Toy Taker. He has an interesting backstory which pretty much fits into his actual identity and explains why he wants to take away the toys. The characters are still in character as the original, but it really does depend if we really want to see more adventures with them. But the story and character seems pretty subtle to sit through. The animation is where things seriously go downhill. As you already know, this is not stop motion, but instead computer animated. But big shock, the animation is not very good. The designs of the characters do not blend well into computer. Sometimes there are a few animation errors, some of the close-ups are a little creepy, and there are times the characters don't often blink their eyes, not to mention many of the backgrounds and special effects look fake. I can't say the original's animation was a masterpiece, but at least it had great textures, visuals, and certain colors that captured that certain magic. This looks like that Rudolph video game I heard bad things about it. The only advantage it kinda has over the original is probably the character animation. While some of the flying scenes look unengaging, there are some creative moments on the toys whenever they walk, and I like that mind change scene at the end. But outside of that, the animation looks like a bad CD-ROM game. In order to keep the spirit of the original special, they put in some musical numbers to be a lot of fun and memorable. Not counting the actual Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song, you can tell they're trying to be as memorable as the ones from the original, but some of them feel like they're trying to be the same songs from the original. Like Keep Your Chin Up is trying to capture We're a Couple of Misfits by being over the top and cheesy.
Keep your chin up, keep your shoulders back, and face the world with pride.
The Island of Misfit Toys is obviously a watered-down version of Wonderful Day of the Year. Beyond the Stars is Clarice's song There's Always Tomorrow turned into a pop song. And you can guess what The Great Christmas Ever reminds you of.
It's gonna be the best Christmas ever. It's gonna be the finest Christmas ever.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year.
The only songs that are not trying to copy the original songs are Beautiful Like Me and the Toy Taker song. The Toy Taker song is decent, but the Beautiful song is just a ridiculous pop song that's hardly memorable. They're not the worst songs I've ever heard, but they're still unoriginal, and I don't think I will be singing them anytime soon. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys is a Misfit movie that tries so hard to be a sequel to the original Rankin Bass classic. Well, it does capture the charm to the original, but it just can't. The story's a mess, the characters don't really offer a lot, the animation looks non-existent, and the songs aren't really as memorable as the original. I guess you can show it to kids if they're really curious what happens to Rudolph's Happily Ever After from the first special. I wouldn't really watch this again every Christmas. In my opinion, I'll just watch the actual Rankin Bass specials. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to buy a Charlie in the Box at the toy store. Thank you for watching my video. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe me to share your thoughts. And stay tuned every week for a new review and other project. See you soon.